Good morning and welcome to Rita's Roast. Well, is that Terry coming back? No, maybe that's just highway traffic. I've got a project I want my husband to do, but you know what? If I want him to do something, I have to butter him up just a little bit sometimes, and so I know what his favorite pie is, so I'm going to make him pie. But I've got to make the pie crust first, so this step right here, we're going to make the pie crust. And then I'll talk to you about what I want him to do. Let's get this going. Do you guys make good pie crust? Mine's not bad. I make the never fail pie crust. And I guess they fail sometimes to get my husband to do what I want him to do. But we get to enjoy pie. I'm going to put 3 cups of flour in my bowl here. And I know, I'm not the best measure when it comes to measuring stuff sometimes. And I'm going to put about a teaspoon of salt. Well, it's kind of stuck. That's about a teaspoon. See my teaspoon? Yeah, that's good. It's exact. Let me kind of stir that salt in there. Now I'm going to put a cup of shortening. And I couldn't decide if I wanted to use this one or I've got one over there. This one's got soybean oils and the other one probably has meat fats. And if I share it with some of my family, I've got some family that don't eat pork, so they don't want that lard. So I'm going to use this one today. Because it may be more than just me and Terry eating this pie. Let me get a cup measure. Alright. Got a little spatula someplace that works just perfect for this, but I don't know which drawer I put it in today. Nope. Some of you guys that subscribe and have watched my videos for a while know that I'm just a mess. Just some accident waiting to happen sometimes. Kind of like that Bob Ross, a happy little accident sometimes. Just make me laugh. Make me laugh at myself. I've got my oven preheating to 350 over there. Because if I make a coconut cream pie, did I tell you I was making a coconut cream pie? I want to pre-bake my pie crust. Alright, let's scoot that over there out of the way. And let's put this in here. Peck, peck, peck. Sorry. I got it. You know what I'm going to do? Let me show you 2 ways to do it. Now, I use this a lot, like that right there, and it breaks it all up. But I'm going to, in case you don't have one of those, let me wash my hands real good, and I'm going to show you how you can do it with your fingers, too. Kind of messy, but it works. Just let me wash. Let me re-wash my hands. Get a little soap, get them good and clean. And I'll have to re-wash them when I get done. It's a noisy place in here. I'm in here by myself, but I've got the dishwasher running. I've got them birds on my porch just tweeting. You hear them? Let me show you how you can do this without this pastry blender. If you just do like this, see how long it's going to take us. And it's a little messy, but I kind of like the way it feels though. And I usually just use the pastry blender, but I was just going to show you could do this too. And that shortening, I'm just getting it all mixed in there. when I see a lump of it, that's what I work on. Because sometimes if you use this, it kind of sticks on there anyway, and you have to use your hands to get it off. So we could do like that. And it'll get crumbly, kind of like a cornmeal texture, maybe you call it. I'm not good at coming up with words to describe how it needs to look. We do it like that, or we could do it like this. But can you see how that looks now? Now let me get some of this off my hands and wash them, and then we're gonna, well, you know what? I'm gonna have to get it on my hands again when I roll it out. So I'm just gonna leave my messy hands. And I'm gonna get my 1 egg, break it into this bowl to make sure it's good egg. Because when they're farm fresh eggs, I like to look at them before I put them into my pot, what I'm making. And I'm going to give it just a little stir. That's my oven pot. Now I need some water. I'm going to put 5 tablespoons of water. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't want to spill that. And a tablespoon of vinegar. And I don't think it matters whether it's apple cider or just white vinegar. But a tablespoon of that. Now I'm going to take my fork. I'm going to hold that over that bowl because it's kind of full. I should have got a bigger bowl to mix that up in. Let's just put it in there. Now I do need a spoon. Where's a big spoon? Let me grab a big spoon. My big sturdy wooden spoon. Oh, there comes my husband. There he comes. He went to check the cows this morning. But in the wintertime, this is spring, and the grass is starting to grow. In the wintertime, he could check them every morning when he put out their hay. But now he just drives back there to make sure everybody's where they're supposed to be and not out. Nobody's in distress. Let me use my hand again here. And the cattle are on several acres on the back of the farm, and you have to go up our little dead-end dirt road to get to the cows. But it's a beautiful piece of property back there. And there's this old house place that's even got this old well. And there used to be a house there, and I think years and years ago, long before we bought the property, the house burned. And then it was just kind of turned, cattle to a place to run cattle and cut hay on. But I'm wanting to build me a cabin back there, not a house. I don't really want to leave this house. Build just a 1-bedroom cabin. May not even have bedrooms, maybe just be an open floor plan. And I've got this old wood cook stove that I want to put in it. Terry's done told me, my husband's done told me, he said, I don't want to move back there. But bless his heart, my husband is having hip problems. I know, when you get old, you have problems. And he's having problems now. Now, I'm going to get a piece of this ready to roll out into my pie shell. So if I'm making this pie, and I'm a good wife, which I always am, but sometimes I can be a better wife than I am at other times. I can talk him into sitting down and working on my plans here on this cabin. Think I can do that? Said, here's you some pie, honey. And he likes his pie cold. After I make this coconut cream pie, he'll want me to put it in the refrigerator and get it cold before he gets his piece of it. There's my towel out of the way. Give me some room to work here. Can you see? Here, I'm working on it. Need just a little more flour. I'm gonna roll it one way, and I'm not an expert at this, but I can get it done, and it's not too bad when it gets done. I'm almost a little dry. Come on, roll it a little bit thinner. And I may make this video in a couple of parts, and not you have to watch part 1, part 2 to watch the whole pie. See the whole pie come together. Think that's big enough yet? It's getting there. And I love using one of these silicone pastry mats on my counter for lots of reasons. And I roll out dumplings on it, I roll out pie shells, I roll out fried pies on it. There, I think that might work. Let me just kind of guess it a little bit. That's pretty close. We'll live with that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of put my hand under that mat and pick that up. This is just the way I do it. I'm sliding on there and push it down in there. And I'm going to do something a little different this morning too on this pie. Usually I'll just kind of prick it and bake it, but I kind of want to try something different. I'm going to line it with the parchment paper and dried beans and pre-bake it that way and see if I like that, because sometimes my pie shells would kind of shrink in and I didn't really like that. Let me get these scissors that I use for everything, and I've still got enough stuff for another pie, so I'll take them trimmings and use in another one. I heard Terry come in. He drove up, and then he went back out again. I think he probably saw the mail go up the road and he went to check the mail, is what I'm assuming. Now, I started to use just some real thin aluminum foil, but then I saw these parchment things I had for the air fryer. My microwave doubles as an air fryer, but I think that'll work. But let me make this. Let me work on this thing just a little bit, and I'll admit one side just a little thicker than the other side, but it'll all be fine in the end, won't it? And I had to look up how long to bake them this way that I'm going to do, and it was $375 for 15 to 20 minutes, and then I'm going to turn the temperature down on the oven to 350 and bake for another 10 to 15 minutes, because I'm experimenting here. Let me scoot a little bit of that over, and then I'm going to take my I'm going to paint with them fingers and use my thumb. Oh, that bird's noisy out there, but he's happy. Now there's what I've got. Let's see what it looks like when it gets done. Now I'm going to put that. And I went down to my pantry, and I've got these dried beans have actually been stored down there, because I'm kind of a prepper and I save these beans. But you know, some of these that have been down there a long time, when I went to cook them a time or two, I never could get them soft, and so I'm going to use them for another purpose. I'm going to put them in there. 1 jar be enough? Think that's enough? We're going to call that our weights. That's our weights. I hear him coming in. I'll tell him what I'm doing if he comes by here. He may know the video's on. He may not come up here and say anything to us. I'm going to put a few more. Make sure it does like I want it to do. And my pie crust don't shrink up. And I guess, I guess if with all this stuff in there, it takes longer to bake, don't it? That's because otherwise, if I just pricked it and bake it, I don't think I'd bake it as long. But this is my special pie. This is my pie to get my husband to do to do a little project that I want done. All right, I'm going to put this in the oven, and I'll bring it back and show it to you after a while. All right, be back in a bit. Well, here's the part 2 of that where I started the pie crust. I've got it out of the oven. It's still hot, but it did pretty good. I've got to let it cool now before I can make that coconut cream pie. I got my coconut ready, but you know what? I get fresh cow milk from my sister right now because my cow I'm not milking. And that's all I've got. I need 3 cups, and that's probably not even a cup and a half in there. So I've got to let this cool, and I've got to get regrouped before I can do something else. I tell you what I did. That pie crust recipe makes more than 1 pie, and so I stirred up the oven just got hot again, and I put an egg custard pie in there. Don't you love egg custard? It was milk and eggs too, and so that's where the milk went to. So I've got to get regrouped before I can finish this one. I'm fixing to take these little leftover pieces, and I'm going to bake them. Maybe open up a jar of apple pie filling, and maybe put some of that on that. Maybe not have a big fancy deal, but just have a little small apple dumplings pie or something like that. Apple cobbler, but not a lot of crust on it maybe. But anyway, this is my pie that I want to use to try to get my husband to build my little cabin. I'll be a real sweet wife. I can be sweet if I want to be. Okay, that's what I've done this morning. Still a work in progress, but I'll get it done. Just going to take a little bit more time and gather up a few more things that I need for it.